Okay, good morning everyone. So we have already started with module 4. I know like module 3 we haven't touched yet, but module 4 we are studying about the types of testings. So we know why we go for software testing, and also we have studied what is functional, different types of testing like functional testing. Then we have studied about non-functional testing, and inside testing we have studied few of the functional testing involves types of functional testings and types of non-functional testing. So today we'll be studying about something which is known as the black box testing. Okay, Kalyan, you're raising your hand. Any confusion? Okay, let me start then. Okay, let me share the slide. Wait. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Yes, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we'll study about the black box testing. So it is another kind of testing which is done by the testing team. Okay, so it's known as black box because the tester don't have any idea about what is the application they are testing. They only know the input. They have the input and they should know what is the out. They know what is the output. What is running in between them, they have no idea about it. Okay, so this is how it's something it's look like. They will provide the input, okay, and they will get some output. Now what they are provided with are some output. They know that how the output should look like, but they don't have any idea what is the logic that has been created inside the system. They have no idea about it. So that is why it is known as black box testing. Now let us see what is the black box testing stands for. So basically, it's a software testing method in which the functionalities of software applications are tested without having knowledge of the internal code structure, implementation details, and internal paths. So you don't have to need knowledge of anything. Either you should not know what is the source code inside this software, or what is that like what is the logic that has been implemented, or the internal how where it is stored. So nothing, you should know nothing. So I told tell you, right, people like some people are scared of joining the software industry because they think that we are not good at coding, so we should not enter the software industry. So I always tell you that there are different teams are there, right? This department testing team is there, so they don't need so much of coding knowledge, nothing. If they go for black box testing, then you don't need anything. You just know, you should know, prepare the test cases, that you know you should enter the number of inputs, and then you should know what is the output look like. You don't have to like, basically it kind of you will be you will be the user of the system who will provide the input. Okay, so it will black box testing will mainly focus on input and output of software application, and it is entirely based on software requirements and specifications. So it will in the SDLC model, so it will based on the software requirement and specification stage, and it is only based on the input and the output of the system. So we should be because as we know, just I have now shown you the diagram. So we should know only the input we are putting in and what is the output. If the like when you enter, suppose you don't know the you don't you have been given a program. Okay, so suppose you have been given a C program, you run the program, so it writes like enter the, suppose you have enter the two numbers, so you enter suppose 5 plus 5 and anything 4. Okay, and the output should be 9. Okay, but you don't know that is the program given for its addition or not. You have just entered the input, and you know that the you have to enter two inputs and your output should be 9. So or like addition to it. So this is, but how they have implement the logic, whether for doing addition, they have gone for any like functions, or they have gone for like simple program using variable to variable, third variable, they have taken the help of third variable, or they have used any loop for adding the numbers. So you have no idea of it. You know that you have to enter two numbers and what should be the output of it. So that is why it is known as the behavioral, sorry, it is known as the black box. Okay, so it focuses on mainly on the requirement. What was your requirement that was mentioned by the client to the organization, to the developers, right? So you should, whether it is meeting the requirements or not. So it is also, this black box testing is sometimes also known as the behavioral testing. Okay, now let's check what are the functionalities, what are the errors that are able to detect by this kind of testing, this black box testing. Okay, so you can, if there are any missing values, so you are able to detect, using the black box testing. Then interface errors. So if you are facing like any problem with the interface, okay, then also any data structure that the coder has implemented in a wrong way. Okay, then behavior or performance errors, how slow, how fast that the response time that is. Then obviously termination errors, whether if you are clicking on the cancel sign, whether the page is canceling or not, whether the interface is canceling or not. These kinds of errors you can find by going for the black box testing. Okay, so actually, so this tester, it is called as black box because the software tester has no idea regarding what is about the code. Okay, what is, how it is working, how it has been implemented, who has been implemented. They are not less concerned about it, least concerned about it. They should know what is the purpose of the software. They are only concerned about it. So, and they are able to, they will give test cases and they are able to detect the errors. Is it clear or any confusion? Yes. Any confusion till this point? Black box? Why it is called black box? Okay. Now here we have an example for a black box testing. So you see a tester without knowledge of the internal structure. So as the diagram showed, right, it is a black box for you people. We don't know how it has been implemented. So without knowledge of the internal structure of a website, test the web page by using a browser, providing inputs and verifying the output against the expected outcome. Okay, you have provided a page, so you don't know like what is the purpose of it, but whether it is working or not, so you need to find it out. Okay, so how to do black box testing? So initially we need to find the requirements and specification of the system mentioned in the SRS document. When you collect we go for the requirement and specification, right? We go like from the client using lots of methods we studied, right? One of them was interview also. We ask to get the understanding of it, like how, what the client wants from the developers or the organization. So we should understand in the requirement specification which that are examined. Then tester, what they will do, they will take some valid test cases, like what are the for positive scenarios, positive test scenarios, that is valid test cases that will work, the under which the system will work. Correct answer. Suppose if you give the login credential, when you enter the correct user ID and password, you will be able to log into the system. Okay, so you give the correct specification. And also some invalid also, suppose if you don't give the if you give wrong user ID and password, then you should not be able to log in, rather you should get some error message that you have done wrong password. So they prepare these test cases, both valid and invalid test cases. Okay, so these are very important to check. If, suppose it may happen also, if sometimes if the software has not been tested properly, what happens is if we give the long credential, long user ID and password, then also the system is able to log in, the person is able to log in that case our system won't be a secure one, right? So that is why we go for this kind of checking. Now tester determines the expected output for all those inputs. So I just told you, like for login we have to check like we are able to log into the system if we are given the inputs correctly. but what if you are given the wrong credentials? You should not be able to log in. So the testers will determine what is the outcome of this input, if you give valid input and if you give wrong input. Okay, so the software tester will construct these test cases. So it will give various create several test cases. Okay, maybe they will divide the input into value, like correct one and the wrong one. Then they will execute it. Okay, and then software tester compares the actual output with the expected output. So whatever the output is expected from the software, he compares it with the actual like output he is getting. Okay, then if he is able to find the detect, they will inform that these are the errors we have found while logging in, and they will inform to the developers, and this will be again fixed and retested by the tester again. The testing team will not will only detect the error. They will not fix the error. Fixing of the error will be done by the developers. Next is types of software black box testing. So as we have already seen, this black box testing can be applied to this kinds of three types of testing. So in the earlier classes when we were going through types of testing, I discussed that there are three types of testing, right? Functional, non-functional, and we had something the maintenance. So under this maintenance, we went for the regression. Right, and in regression testing was involved in both functional and also in the non-functional part. Okay, so let's check how the like black box testing is applied to the functional and non-functional regression testing. So functional testing, as you are aware, will test the functionalities of the system. So just now I gave you an example like whether you are able to log into the system using the correct credentials like the login ID and the password. Similarly, if you are giving wrong credentials, and how will you log in? But what is happening in that part, what is happening, what is the code for login, we are not interested in, right? Being the coders, being the testers, we are not interested what code has been used in the login part. We should only know that we are giving the correct username and password, and we should able to get the we should be able to enter the system or the login page, right? Similarly, if you are using a normal Gmail, when you are typing the user ID and password sign in page, so you should able to get all their mails, right? We are only interested in knowing whether it's working properly or not. So it is functional testing focuses on like more critical aspects, whether it's like integration. Also we know that the integration testing is a kind of a type of functional testing, or the system, or if we go for the system testing also, that is testing the system as a whole if it's working properly. So this is also type of functional testing. Here also we can apply black box testing here. Okay, next is non-functional testing. So non-functional testing, I just kept on repeating last class also, that non-functional testing is something it will meet the user expectation, that will not be mentioned in the user requirements. User requirements are like fulfilled by the functional testing. To check whether whatever was demanded by the users are fulfilled or not, we go for functional testing. Okay, but if we want to check for like non-functional testing, we have to use meet like it will help in detect meeting the customer expectation. Right now, how this black box testing is done to uncover the software is here. So you will see how the website you have created, whether it is like easy to use or not, whether it is easily understandable. Okay, whether the interface is clearly understandable to us or not. Okay, how does it perform when the like lot of users are using the same website. So let me give you an example. Like everyone is using Gmail, right? So as we know, this Gmail like it is able to like we are not understanding the load. See, I may be using now Gmail, you may be using Gmail, like thousands and millions of people must be using Gmail at the same time. So that is why it is not affecting the performance, right? It is not affecting the performance in Gmail, because we are not understanding only, because at the same time thousands millions of people, trillions of people may be using the same software, but we are not getting the idea that because the speed remains the same until and unless our network like has some problems. Otherwise we have no problem in accessing the softwares, right? So this kind of thing, like how much performance if the number of people increases or are tested in the non-functional testing. How it is done, what code it has been used, we are not like interested in it, right? It's kind of a black box for us. So whether it is compatible with the relevant devices. So now you check, right? Like if you use the same device, suppose if you have this Gmail application, if you use in your mobile, with whether it works the same as in the laptop also, or in the pad you have used. So all these are non-functional black box testing. Okay, so it will expose to security vulnerabilities or common security threats. All these things are detected in the non-functional testing. Moving last is the like regression testing. So in regression testing, I just kept on repeating these things. Regression testing, we go like for every, like when we include new feature, then also we go for regression testing to check whether the other applications or other modules are not affected by adding addition of new modules or removal of new modules. So these things are gone for. So we can go for this regression testing also, like what testers, when developers have added a new feature to the system, it has not hampered the other modules. So it's known as the regression testing. Okay. Now, what are the techniques involved in doing the black box testing? So here, like I have mentioned, only three kinds of techniques. First is the equivalence partitioning. So what we have in this kind of test designing, what we do is we divide the input into valid and invalid partitions, and then we choose then we select from each of these partitions, whether now suppose we have created lot of inputs. Okay, we have lots of inputs. Now we will divide these are the valid inputs, these are the valid, that means the correct one. If we enter this values, it will enter into the system. like if we give this log details, it will, and it will log into the system, and we have the incorrect details, how the system will behave. So from this, it will be basically divided into set, right? It will be, and from this set, each time what we do, we take one representative, and then we go for testing. Okay, from the each partitions, these inputs are divided into two partitions, valid and invalid, and then from each of these valid and invalid, we pick one as a test data, and then we keep on checking. Okay, next is boundary value. So it is similar to equivalence partitioning also, only, but the thing is that here boundaries will be there. So it will involve the determination of boundaries. So whether the input falls in the what to say whether the input falls in the correct boundary or not, whether a valid boundary or invalid boundary. Okay, so that is why we are known as the boundary value analysis. And last is the cost effect graphing. So basically, whenever we have this kind of software test design technique, like it will involve identifying the input condition, and if you give this input, what will be the outcome of it. If you are using a particular input, what will be the outcome of that input. Okay, so based on this, you can create a graph. Okay, maybe in the xy axis you have a coordinates, like xy coordinate, and then in coordinates you take in the y axis you take the outcome, and in the x-axis you take the inputs. Okay, so if you are giving that particular input, what is the outcome you are getting? What if you are giving next input, so what is the outcome you are giving? And then we can draw a graph on it. So that is known as the cause effect graphing. Okay, till this point, any confusion? Yes. Yeah. Next, we have left with only the advantages and disadvantages. So advantages, see, on the main advantages I was telling you, so you don't need to have any knowledge of coding. Okay, you are you don't have to understand the complicated loops that have been developed by the coders. The basic understanding, all these things are not required, and these tests are generally done from the user point of view. user point of view, in the sense like they will be able to how efficient, how easy the like user will find it to operate it. Like, so it is done from all the detects. This is done. I gave you something about the alpha testers we studied, right? So this kind of testings are basically done by then sorry, alpha and beta testers. So they will beta testers generally do this kind of testing. Why? Because they will give an idea, like when the users use it, what kind of like problems they will find while using the system. Such kind of system is known beforehand, so we go for this. And if they find like, okay, this is a like module where the user may find difficulty. Okay, so it's not, because when the system is complicated, the users refrain from using it. So we should make sure that it is as much user friendly as possible, right? Next is, testing need not know programming language or how the software has been implemented. Just I told you, the testing team need not know like how you have developed it, like what logic you have used, what coding language you have used. We are least concerned about it. You should make sure that what is it should serve its purpose. We are just checking the system. You don't know, you have a, like Facebook, let me give you an example of Facebook or Gmail. With the sign in page, if you have, like, you are able to log into the system or not. Whether we are concerned how these pages are made, how are these like pages are working, which programming language, being suppose we are not from technical background, suppose we are from like normal layman. So we are able to use the system, that much, and enough, that is I think enough for us, right? We should not know that like, okay, whether JavaScript is working, whether Java is working, which server is working. We are not concerned about the internal structure, right? Next, tests can be conducted by a body independent from the developers, allowing for an objective perspective and avoidance of the developer bias. So what happens, the testing team should consist of the persons who were not involved in the development team. In that case, what happens when a person from the development team is included in the testing team, then because he have the idea, right? Because he know what is the logic that has been implemented, so he will give the inputs according to his program only. Okay, so he will that will work correctly. But if we some other people who have no idea like how the program was developed, then it will be not be biased, and it will be very unbiased, and they will be able to detect the error properly. Okay, because they will be given random inputs, and how it will behave, they will able to then find the whether a system is working properly or not, how good your system is. But if there is a development a member of the development team included in the testing team, so what happens is, I already know what is the logic that have been implemented, so it will be totally biased. Okay, so that is then in that case we won't be able to detect the proper error. So next is, test cases can be designed as soon as the specifications are complete. So generally, when we were going for the VV model, that is the validation and verification model we have studied, that is test cases are prepared in the like after the year, because requirement after it, because this black box testing are mainly concerned with requirement specification. So what we can do is we can prepare this kind of test cases like beforehand only. Okay, so when once this phase is completed, requirement specification, we can go for designing of the test cases. Now let's check what is the disadvantage of it. See, when we are not aware of the system, when we are not aware of the programming knowledge and like programming logic, what has been in like how it has been implemented, which programming language, so we cannot check all the details of the system, right? Like lots of things, other things may be involved. For that, little bit of programming should be involved. So in that case, it will be like left untested. Some modules may be left untested. Okay, and without clear specification, which is a situation in many projects, test cases may be difficult to design. So what is that situation if you are not able to tell? Because in black box testing, you are only given a software that is a black box, you don't know what it's doing or something. You have this page, you will give the credentials. So if you don't have any what is the purpose of the software, then it won't be possible for you to design the test cases properly. Okay, And sometimes the test cases can be redundant also, that is duplicated also, if the software designer has already run a test case. So you have already run it and again you are checking it, so that it is redundant, that is duplicate values will duplicate test cases will exist. So any confusion in black box testing? So this was all about I need to explain today. Black box. Yes, students? Any confusion? Are you going through the slides so I'm providing in the Google Classroom? We have completed 2 modules. We are in the 3rd module right now. Okay. So just I mentioned, so disadvantages of the this one black box testing is that one of the, like when your situation is not clear, like what for what purpose you are going for the this kind of testing, and then you won't be able to give the proper test cases for it. Like in that case, like you don't know like what is the purpose of the software, where it will be used. So in that case, just you are using a generalized version of the software. Okay, like norm. So in that case, you suppose we have Gmail. Gmail is for like emails, right? We can send emails. We can like compose emails and everything. Other main things are there. But Facebook is for different purpose. Facebook is for like it's a basically a social media site which we can upload photos, then we can chat, so a lot of other applications are there. But if you don't have the clear specifications, so testing of Facebook and testing of Gmail, these two applications will be different, right? But if we have no idea why we were using this software, for us it will be same thing. It will be same thing and we'll be using the same test cases, whatever test cases we have used for, like in while Facebook was developed, I will use the same test cases for Gmail also. So that won't be able to utilize the like won't be able to detect all the errors in Gmail, if it has any, right? So also sometimes it happens is, mm, for that purpose also you should have little bit idea of the coding technique, all the code, which language it has been used, what what which features have been included. So you should have the ideas about the features also. So if what functionalities it's meant to perform. Okay, and test can be redundant. So that means the last case it's saying that some test cases can be redundant, that is duplicated. Okay, we should, like in that case it's not to, like if you have already one software developer designer, like they have already run the test case, then you are already learning it, so it can be redundant, right? It will be two test cases, same test type of test cases, so it will be no use. So that is why it is saying it's the disadvantages. Please go through the slides I'm providing. Okay, you need to study, otherwise during exam it will be very difficult for you. Please, any other confusion? I think Subhanjit, your network is problem. There is a problem. Mine is okay. Yeah, mine is okay. I don't know. Okay, let me share the. I'll take the attendance. I'll share the slides. Just wait. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let's meet tomorrow then. Okay. You all can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.